Shabbos Daf Yud. How are you supposed to look and what are you supposed to wear when you daven? Says the Gemara, He koin l'kras l'gach Yisrael. When you daven to Hashem, wear the clothing that you'd wear in front of a king. In other words, if your belt is undone, make sure you tighten your belt. The Mishnah Berurah says you should not wear pajamas, don't wear boots. Maybe nowadays don't wear Crocs. Rava Bar Huna had special shoes that he wore for davening. Rava would take off his cloak, the one that made him important. There's no importance in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Took that off, and then he would clasp his hands as so, like a eved, like a slave in front of a master. Rav Kahana did both things. Listen to this lashon of the Gemara, Ki iket tzara ba'alma, when there's pain in the world, and I myself can't remember a period of time where there was that much pain in so many countries, like today. 156 countries, from Iran to the United States to Israel, all over the world is pain. So when there was pain in the world, Rava would remove his important cloak. Rav Kahana would remove his important cloak and he would clasp his hands. But when there was shalom in the world, Rav Kahana would put on his cloak, he'd put on his talis, he koin l'kras l'gach Yisrael. Rava absorbed Rav Amnuna davening, a very long davening. And he said, what are you doing? You miniach chaye olam and you oisik b'chaye shah. Torah is the most important. You should be learning Torah. It brings you to the world to come. Tefillah is for this world. What are you davening for, says Rashi? What we're davening today. For health, for parnasa, for shalom. But that's only Chai Shah. That's for this world. And Rav Nun himself held, you're right, Torah is more important. But once you daven, Zman Tefillah l'chud, you continue davening. Rabbi Yirmiyah was talking and learning with Reb Zera, and he was in a rush to get to davening. So Reb Zera pulled out a beautiful pasuk on him. It says in the pasuk, Meisur Oznaim Shmai Torah. You want to take your ear away from listening to Torah? What's going to happen? Gam tefillasai to'eva. Then your tefillah ends up an abomination. It's no good. The Gemara now discusses the importance of being a dayan and doing a din Torah. Machlok is how much you should do every day. Rabbi and Rabasi, they would make noise on the door telling people, come, do a din Torah by us. In other words, the din Torah is more important than Torah itself. Rav Chizda and Rabbi, the Gemara says, they were doing Dinei Torah all day long to the point where they became very weak. Says Reb Chia to them, you learned the wrong pshat in the pasuk. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu stood on Klal Yisrael min haboker ad ha'erev. Doesn't mean that he necessarily did in Torah from day to night. What it means is that one who does it in Torah, it's that important as if he's a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Ma'aseh Bereishis, which over there it says those words, min haboker ad ha'erev. Another sheet in the Gemara is that a dayan should do his din Torah all the way to the 6th hour of the day, to midday. And the Gemara uses a lashon that the dayanim, they are dealing with gvura of Torah, whereas other people are drinking and getting drunk with wine. And the Gemara tells us a list. The ludim, the cannibals, they need to eat all the time, to the point where they eat humans. So they eat by sunrise, the 1st hour of the day. Listim, the robbers who are up all night, they take a quick nap, they need to eat on the 2nd hour of the day. Yarshim, the trust fund babies, they don't have to worry about parnasa, they eat on the 3rd hour of the day. All other people eat on the 4th hour of the day. The 5th hour of the day is for the workers, and the 6th hour of the day are the Talmidei Chachamim. They push it off all the way to the 6th hour. But if you eat after that, it's like throwing a stone into a barrel of wine. It looks like there's more wine, but there's no more wine. Unless, of course, you ate pashachar, so you ate a morning meal, then even if you eat after the 6th hour, then the food will be beneficial. The bathhouses in those days had 3 rooms. You had the bath itself, where people stood there unclothed. You have the middle room, where people ran out to get dressed, so some people are dressed and some people aren't. And they have the front room, where all the people are dressed. In the first room, you could say Kriya Shema and Shemona Esrei, you could say Shalom Aleichem to your friend, and you could even put on tefillin. In the second room, you could say Shalom Aleichem, but there's no Kriya Shema and Tefillah. You don't have to remove your tefillin, but you're not allowed to put on tefillin. But in the third room, there's no Shalom Aleichem, there's no Kriya Shema, obviously. There's no Kriya Shema and Tefillah, and you must remove your tefillin. Now, the reason why you can't say Shalom Aleichem is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name is Shalom, as the pasuk says, Hashem Shalom. But the word Ne'eman, faithful, that's not Hashem's name. Hashem is faithful, but that's not his name, so you're allowed to mention that in the Beis HaMerchatz. If a person designated a bathhouse, it was never used as a bathhouse, you're allowed to daven inside the bathhouse. But if a person designates a bathroom without using it, that the Gemara had a suffix. Once you use the bathroom or the bathhouse, even if you clean it out completely, it's asur to daven in both of them. The Gemara brings 4 different sayings from Rava bar Machasya. If a person gives a present to his friend, he must notify him that he's about to give him a present in order that the friend shouldn't be embarrassed. You see, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave a beautiful present. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I have a matana toiva bignozai, I have a beautiful present, Shabbos, and I want you, Moshe Rabbeinu, to tell him the sechar of Shabbos. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu notified the recipients of the present what the present was. If you were to give a piece of bread to a child, make sure you notify his mother so that there's peace and harmony between people. How do you do so? Not recommended to do so today, but you paint his face with some blue, with some oil. If you're concerned about witchcraft, so then sprinkle his head with whatever item you gave him. You gave him some bread, sprinkle some crumbs on his head. A present that's eventually going to be known who gave it to you. Like when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the glow in Moshe Rabbeinu's forehead, he didn't tell Moshe Rabbeinu they gave it to him, but someone from Klal Yisrael obviously went over to Moshe Rabbeinu and said, hey, your forehead is glowing. And Moshe Rabbeinu realized right away, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbos, that the sechar wasn't going to be known, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to notify Klal Yisrael. Rav Chizda says the Gemara had matnis kuna, he had this royal l'chaim keva that a kohen gets, and he said, I'll distribute this to someone who will give me a dvar Torah from Rav. Comes along Rav bar Machasya, and he said, the halacha that we just said, if you give a present to your friend, you have to notify him. Says Rav Chizda, beautiful, here it is. Says Rav bar Machasya, you love these divrei Torah? He says, of course. Says Rav bar Machasya, you're like a person who wears this fine garment, only he enjoys it, only he likes it. You are so used to Rav's divrei Torah, you love them. Who said this? Rav. So Rav Chizda was very impressed. He said, really, that's Rav said. I like the second saying of Rav more than the first one. I wish I had more matnas to kahuna to give you. Another saying that Rav bar Machasya said is, don't treat one son differently than the other. Don't give him more Yerusha. Don't give him more presents. Look what happened to Yosef at Tzadik Yaakov Avinu. Gave him nothing, just a little garment, and it ended up that he had to go to Mitzrayim and the whole Galus and everything. And one other halacha, he said, if you're choosing a city, pick a newer city, because the chatayim of a city accumulate. Look, Zdaim, it says, Imalta na, let's run away, like it says, to Mitzar, to Tzoyar, which is younger than Zdaim. Zdaim was 52 years old, and Tzoyar was 51, as the pasuk says, Imalta na. And one last thing, Zdaim sat in peace for 26 years, whereas it was under turmoil for 26 years. Have a wonderful day.